Evening, folks. It's Eddie coming to you from a hotel room this evening near the airport here in Montreal. I've been trying to get home since yesterday afternoon and have yet to be successful. Yesterday, I flew from Fort Lauderdale to Montreal. Everything went great. Got on the plane in Montreal, left on time. I knew it was snowing in St. John's, but I didn't think it'd be snowing hard enough that it would impact flight ops as much as it did. But turns out the runway was slippery, there was a crosswind, and the pilots in the front of the plane decided that they didn't want to fly the approach because they felt it would be unsafe due to slippery conditions and visibility and whatever else they use to, I guess, calculate safe landing parameters. And so we turned around, flew all the way back from Montreal, and at this point we were actually like over the Burin Peninsula. Flew all the way back to Montreal, so I got to sit on a plane for 4 hours yesterday and end up right back where we started. Nice round trip, the old U-turn, if you will. And then today, I was rebooked on a flight at 1 p.m. I was watching that flight fly on in. I think it was coming in from Edmonton. And it landed. Was very excited to go through security and get on the plane and go home. That flight was canceled because of a maintenance issue. So I was hoping I'd be put on a flight for this evening, but that flight was full, as many other people are in the same boat I am, and so I was booked onto a flight tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock from Montreal back to St. John's. Now, weather-wise, in St. John's, we should be good. It is going to be cold, but we should be good. Weather-wise here, it's still snowing, but it's nothing overly serious, so hopefully the aircraft taking me and many other people home tomorrow will get in. Now, speaking of tomorrow, it is going to be cold. We're in for one of the coldest stretches of weather that I can remember in my nearly 10 years living in Newfoundland and Labrador. And because of the expected cold, Environment Climate Change Canada has issued extreme cold warnings for the Northern Peninsula and all of Labrador. And in Labrador, we're talking about wind chills in the north potentially as low as minus 54. I don't think I've ever seen a forecast wind chill that low in the time I've been living in Newfoundland and Labrador. On the island, wind chills between now and early next week, this is a long cold snap, are going to be as low as minus 30. And I talked about a long cold snap. Here's your 5-day outlook for the province at a glance. And as you can see, eastern, central, western Newfoundland, temperatures in the minus teens for highs over the next 5+ days. In Labrador, temperatures in the minus teens and 20s for the next 5+ days. There are some signs of a warm-up, but potentially not until the middle or even end of next week. And the reason for this is the jet stream sending the cold air right into our neck of the woods. You can see on the map here where the coldest area is. It's that bright pink. That's right over western and Labrador, eastern areas of Quebec. And that essentially stays over eastern Canada, Atlantic Canada, into early next week before it looks like it finally begins to change a bit. So far as the temperatures and wind chills are concerned over the next few days, here we go tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock. Wind chills across the island into the minus 20s and 30s. In Labrador, wind chills into the minus 40s. In some areas, minus 50s. As we go into Saturday morning, temperatures on the island, minus teens, minus 20s. Wind chills into the minus 20s and minus 30s. In Labrador, wind chills into the minus 40s and below, with air temperatures into the minus 30s. And sometimes the air temperatures are a bit over forecast with the model I'm showing you here. Saturday afternoon, wind chills minus 20s, temperatures into the minus teens. Again, we go into Sunday morning, temperatures on the island, minus teens, minus 20s. Into Labrador, temperatures into the minus 30s, wind chills across the board, minus 20s, minus 30s, minus 40s, and in some areas, maybe even minus 50s. And finally, for Sunday, we're still looking at the cold temperatures. I said finally because we're nearing the end of the forecast, but it's still going to be cold even as we get into next week. Now, with the cold, oftentimes we can get snow, but this weather pattern, as we go from Friday right through Monday or Tuesday of next week, looks fairly dry. Most of the systems pass by us to the south. Now, there will be flurries and snow squalls here and there, but overall, any major weather systems are going to remain to our south and east, at least through the weekend. That might change a little bit as we get into next week. Now, hopefully, I make it in tomorrow, and I'll have a forecast for you on the evening news hour tomorrow and first edition, but that remains to be seen. I was supposed to be back with you today, and hopefully I'll be back with you tomorrow. That's it from me from Montreal. Hopefully I will not have an update for you tomorrow evening from Montreal. Hopefully I'm home safe and sound. Take care, stay safe, and for those of you that are stuck in Montreal and Toronto that have been trying to get home, I wish you all the best of luck. Hopefully we're all home sooner rather than later.